Back to Northern Kentucky Magazine, ICN6, where we're going to tell you a little bit about therapeutic storytelling. And it's all thanks to a connection that I made years and years and years ago. A good friend of mine has a company called Max Media Plus Events, been a producer, director, and a creator of different events around this area, doing things for P&G. But what gives him the inspiration and the love is the work that he does through therapeutic storytelling. James Rosenberger joins us today to talk about this special mission almost that you're on. I mean, it's a service that you give, especially to our elderly.
Yeah, I call it my mitzvah. I think everybody needs to have that kind of thing that they do that's not based on just earning a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And do you have family members who've ever been in a long-term care facility?
Yes,
yeah, so
yes, my mom is there now. Mm-hmm.
That's what got me started.
Yeah.
My dad was in a facility and I would go and entertain him. And then he'd say, you know, I think Bill down the hall would really enjoy you too. So I'd get schlepped down the hall and would entertain for Bill, and then he'd hand me over to Marty, and by the time I was done, it was like, wow, I think this might really work. So
storytelling is one of those art forms that must live on, and the fact that you incorporate music with your storytelling is, you know, a bigger bang for your buck. It gives people what they love the most, and you usually tell a story to a person or entertain with a story that connects to their story.
That's really, yeah, as long as I've been doing this, which I won't say, but there is a real connection between what's called the phonological loop, mm-hmm. which connects with your right brain, and the power of music. If you plan it correctly, and all of our musical choices are aimed at folks from that Second World War generation, you know, so we'll pick tunes that are familiar to them, and that really always just kind of takes them to a place. And then I can come back in with a story with a therapeutic message into it, and it makes a huge difference.
I had one of my dearest friends in life, and my voice teacher is an Alzheimer's victim. And when I went to do an Irish show for her where she is, she got up and sang the most beautiful Tura Lura, remembered every single one of the words, her pitch, everything was just like it was 5 years ago. And so I see what you mean. Music is always there. Music has a special place, and it triggers such wonderful feelings for everyone who experiences it.
Oh, it's unbelievably documented that, especially with skilled dementia, Alzheimer's patients, they respond. They'll come in almost in a state of almost like a catatonic state. They're just frozen. You'll start playing the music, and they'll come out and they'll remember, as you said, every word, every nuance. It will certainly, they'll start talking how they sang "Goodnight, Irene" to their sister on her birthday, whose name was Irene. I've heard wonderful stories back, and I get so much more out of doing this than what probably I give. It's just a wonderful thing for me.
Oh, it takes them more than down memory lane. It's part of a wonderful healing, I'm sure, that it takes them to.
Well, it's all part of what's called reminiscence therapy. And it's, again, but you have to access that right brain. You have to go for affective memory, because as we age, our left brain takes over. And that's the logical watchdog that can lock us out of certain experiences.
We just showed where your website is, audibletherapies.com.
Great.
What can people find out when they get there? Can they find out how to contact you and book you?
Absolutely. In fact, they can find out some important things. One is they can see a sample of a story. They can also see samples of the Harmonizing Dylans. And there's a contest that we've just started that people can enter. So if these facilities don't have budget, some of them, I donate a free storytelling every quarter. Oh, wow. And so there is a contest that's on the website that all they have to do is enter and tell me their information, and once a quarter I'll be a surprise visitor.
Tell me about the Harmonizing Dylans. You created this beautiful three-part harmony with guitar, banjo. It sounds great.
Well, I'm fortunate to have some great cohorts in crime. I've got Penny McDaniel, who's a wonderful vocalist, and Mark Alexander, who plays dobro, banjo, guitar. And we've been singing together since 2002.
Oh, how'd you meet?
We're all friends. We've met professionally. Mark's a professional photographer. Penny is a professional vocalist as well as music teacher. And her husband, John McDaniel, with Sonic Arts, was a friend of mine, and that's how I met her. And one thing led to another, and we found out we could sing together. You
know, you've been in show business all of your life. You've been doing every element of the business of show, you know, for your entire career. But I would think this element has to be the closest to your heart.
Well, that's why I call it a mitzvah, because it really transcends, as I said, not just making that paycheck, but it gives me a reason of feeling that I'm giving something back to a part of our society that sometimes gets ignored. And it's just a great, great feeling when you can lift these people up who they get bored in these facilities, you know, and so you really want to get them away from that sense of despair that can set in. And if I can brighten someone's day, that's a fabulous way to spend my day.
I'm sure this holiday season you're going to be singing the holiday songs to bring back those memories and that type of storytelling. But you sent me the most curious JPEG, and I think it was Einstein. And I'm wondering, what sort of story would you be telling about Einstein, and what song would you fix up with that?
Well, it's a great thing to ask, because on the website it's kind of every picture tells a story. And a lot of people didn't know that Einstein was married, number one, and then he also
We know his formula, though.
Well, but that actually came from his wife,
No.
Maliva Merrick. She invented and had all the bright ideas, and even though he had an affair on her with his cousin,
With his cousin? Ew.
and made her have an abortion of a child and terrible things, he did give her the check from the Nobel Prize.
Oh.
As part of the payback.
But he kept the medal himself.
So, yeah, well, but the song you follow that one up with?
Yeah?
Your Cheating Heart.
Oh, yeah. That is perfect. How did you ever stumble on that story?
Well, there's a lot of sources for materials, and again, you want to find, it's usually a combination of parables and metaphors, but you find stories that reframe, that takes people into maybe not just saying, you know, Nancy, you are this kind of a person and you have this kind of problem. So you talk about other people and their problems. And then they can kind of project or reframe their issues in that direction. And when it really helps when it's somebody they all know.
Kind of like a soap opera.
It's
Make
very
everybody, their problems are always much worse than ours. I think that's why we all watch them.
There you go. Absolutely.
Give us an example of the type of stories and songs throughout the year that you would bring to the nursing homes and retirement villages.
Well, every month is a different theme.
Okay.
So I try to build it around whatever are the notable holidays in the month and something. And so either it's easy when it's Valentine's Day or Father's Day or Mother's Day or Christmas or Thanksgiving or Halloween. I'll always include something topical to that. But it's always back to that therapeutic message, which is really not a big deal. It's as simple as be nice, you know, do unto others. And this age group really respond to that, because that's the kind of teachings and their moral compasses are still set, that you can remind them, you know, that if you treat the other person well, they might treat you better too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's a great gift that you're giving our community, and it's nice to know that that this type of therapy is out there coming from people whose hearts are as good as yours. If you'd like to contact James Rosenberger and his Harmonizing Dylans, just go to his website, audibletherapies.com, and you can book your upcoming special occasion with the talents of Mr. Rosenberger and the Harmonizing Dylans that we're going to hear from on the other side of commercials. You're watching Northern Kentucky Magazine right here on ICN 6.